Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Crypto News. And now, my question of today is, how did you guys first get into crypto? Did a friend refer you to it? Did it come from YouTube or the news? Put it in the comment section down below because I'm really interested to read through a couple of you guys' stories, as I think it will be different for everybody. Now, the first article of today is called Why Boomers and Gen Xers Are Expected to Become the Biggest Bitcoin Whales. And if you had that question, maybe it's been itching in your brain for a little while. I don't think so, but maybe. The answer is pretty damn simple, because they have the highest percentage of wealth. So basically, boomers have, let's say, 60%, Gen Xers have, let's say, for example, 15% of the wealth, and let's say, for example, millennials have like 3. So yeah, it is pretty obvious that over a longer period of time, the ones with the most amount of wealth will become the ones with the biggest holdings, right? I think that's kind of simple to understand. So yeah, if you scroll through it a little bit, you'll find the same thoughts. Last year, Business Insider reported that boomers control 60% of US wealth, while Gen Xers controlled 16% and millennials only having 3%. In the end, guys, I think it's pretty obvious that that's the way it's going to go. If they have the most amount of wealth, they'll most likely invest the most as well. Anders Lundberg just posted on Twitter, "Is there something missing? Connect ledgers, ILP. On-demand liquidity, XRP. Software banks / FIs / corporates, RippleNet. Custody, PolySign. Smart contracts, Codius. Addresses, PayID. Micropayments, Coil. Ripple lending, XRP. What else would be needed? Xpool?" And one guy makes a pretty funny comment that says, "Regulations, Fed / Treasury." Because that would actually be a good thing if regulations could actually be done by the Fed / Treasury instead of the SEC. It's actually something to think about. But maybe he's talking about this in the sense of, that the Fed and Treasury get some regulations in, or maybe just trying to fill out the next step in a joking manner. It doesn't really matter too much, as Anders here, made a really solid and good point. The reason for that is, if you start to think about it, there's really not that much that they are missing anymore. I mean, one thing I at first did not know too much about was PolySign, but when I checked through it a little bit, yes, PolySign is also funded by Spring. As you can see here, Coil, PolySign, Securitize, XRPL Labs, Agoric, and Forte, all funded by Spring, and thus, yeah, it's part of it all. And again, that kind of connects everything to each other, right? What is missing? What else would they need? What else would they want? And that's actually really interesting if you start to think about it, because to some degree, people have been saying Ripple has been not stagnant, but not as apparent in progress. However, when I see these types of tweets and these types of infographics, it really makes you wonder, is it just not that their priorities have really shifted from trying to please all these XRP guys at first with really good announcements to just getting their system in check and really getting ready for billions and billions of dollars? That's also the thing I kind of saw and noticed with ODL, because Ripple had posted publicly that they've changed their priorities from just the most amount of money in ODL to really SMEs and e-commerce providers. The reason they did that publicly, I believe, is mostly because they just want to be transparent. Of course, transparency is key. And the reason they did the whole switch up is just because for the longer term goals, that really lies more with their morals and what they stand for. And if you reason from that perspective on forward, it would also be quite logical to assume now that this is really where their priorities lied, to just get every sector in order, because they've also explained more often in articles and in other places that this payment stuff was just the first vertical. This cross-border remittances stuff, just the first vertical, and they would get many more areas, like I guess comparable to Amazon Books, which was just one of their verticals, and now they got tons of them, right? I mean, Amazon, you can't really put an end to what Amazon can and cannot do. It's really crazy. XRP Stewart also just posted something really interesting on Twitter. And by the way, I showed you guys a couple days ago, or maybe already a week ago, a whole video on David Schwartz, who to a certain degree is a little bit of my idol, because I mean, he knows his stuff, man. It just really excites me too. Whenever he talks, whenever he speaks, it's always just knowledge and facts, and I really love it. Again, maybe some fun stuff in the midst as well, but you guys get the idea. So I showed you guys also the Bitcoin forum of where David Schwartz has been active from, I believe, 2011, or maybe 2010, I believe 2011. And he's been talking for just years, 4,000 posts, a lot of stuff. And now, of course, in that video, I didn't show you guys all of what he said about Ripple or XRP or Bitcoin, because he said a lot of things. However, if you just take the link or just look up what I told you guys, and as I suggested you to do, check a little bit further, there's a couple of really cool things you'll find. And XRP Stewart did exactly that. He went to look for, or maybe he took it from somebody else, I don't know, but he went to look and found something really quite interesting that David Schwartz posted. It reads, "As a corporation, we are legally obliged to maximize shareholder value. With our current business model, that means acting to increase the value and liquidity of XRP. We believe this will happen if the Ripple network is widely adopted as a payment system. We are pursuing multiple avenues at once. One would expect increased demand to increase price." It's a very interesting statement, and I'm to a certain degree kind of wondering if he really said that. That's a pretty interesting thing to say. Of course, take into consideration that this was 7 years ago, but it's actually a reply to somebody, most likely, who made the thread, "Ripple, why XRPs are superior to Bitcoins," which also is an interesting title. Because of course, it's really also pretty simple to reason why XRP is better than Bitcoin in many aspects. The only one I believe Bitcoin would be better at is being stable at this point, so for right now, and also possibly being a hedge against stocks. I would say Bitcoin is still a little bit better. Safe haven type of coin. Yeah, a little bit less volatile as well, possibly. For the rest, XRP is better for most functions that Bitcoin has as a currency, at least. Maybe not so per se as an asset. Having said that, though, there's a couple of things that people are saying here in the comments, and a lot of those are interesting. A lot of those are really interesting. But for right now, I would recommend you guys to just go through the Bitcoin forum or just type in Joel Katz's forum or anything like that. You'll find a ton of really crazy stuff out there, and maybe you will notice some even crazier things that he said over the years. It's possible, and it's really cool. And by the way, the quote he replied to was, but you do intend XRP to become a real currency, not just some sort of stamp, don't you?" Again, that's when he replied, "They have the best interest in the price going up," which he's also explained multiple times. I believe I have something along those lines here as well. Yeah, here we go. That's the only bookmark I actually have. A higher price for XRP would help Ripple in several ways, and here's a little bit of that. I've explained it to you guys tons of times before, but just take a little bit of a quick gander at it, or pause it and read through it, because it's pretty obvious, but still, you got to know about it. Leah Knight has just posted on Twitter, 1 billion XRP in escrow was just released with 800 million going back into escrow shortly after. View all past and future escrows here. You can check it out, but we don't need to. One thing I just wanted to quickly mention is that they've taken out 200 million now, which means they have 200 million to their disposal to spend on really whatever they want. Now, of course, they'll label it as XRP ecosystem payments. However, it is pretty difficult to see exactly what they're spending it on, and it could very well be that they're paying companies right now to use XRP, like for example MoneyGram or some other company. We don't really know. The Grayscale Bitcoin Trust may be signaling Bitcoin has formed a long-term bottom. Now, I always find it difficult to accept and really get deeper into these long-term bottom types of articles, because really, is any bottom for Bitcoin that long-term? Really? $9,000, is that a long-term bottom? I really can't really feel that, It always feels to me that even if we go above $40,000, Bitcoin will eventually get back to a point like that. But on the contrary, I do not really expect Bitcoin to ever go back to $26 or things like that. And when I relate it to that in that way, it could really be that, at one point in the future we'll never get back, or most likely it will be, that we will never get back to $3,000. And that, a couple months ago was the last time you could accumulate at that point. And maybe even so that we'll never get back to $9,000 and that this might be the last time you can buy. But a little bit of an overview, Bitcoin has been consolidating between $9,000 and $10,000 for the past several weeks. The crypto has expressed some overt weakness in recent times due to its propensity to trade near the lower boundary of this range, right around $9,200. Buyers have been ardently defending against a drop below 9,000, and one trend seen while looking towards the publicly traded Grayscale Bitcoin Trust seems to indicate that the crypto could be forming a long-term bottom, followed by an uptrend. Well, again, I'm not really convinced that that's the truth or that it has any relevance to it, but yeah, maybe to you it is. Pause it, check it through. I don't really think you should, but whatever. Bitcoin demand will outpace supply within 8 years. Report that is something that I can get interested in because that's something you can kind of really measure and kind of feel. Research from crypto derivatives exchange Xers suggests that the daily mining supply of Bitcoin won't be able to keep up with the retail demand by 2028. Retail demand for Bitcoin is red hot and continues to grow in 2020. If it stays on the pace it's set so far, retail buying pressure will suck up more Bitcoin per day than will be mined by 2028, according to a new research. And the supply shock could send prices soaring, similar to what's happened in the gold market. So now the easiest kind of thing to explain to you guys here is, it is assumed generally that the interest in Bitcoin will be going up as more people become aware that it exists. More people will want to get away from the safe / really volatile to a big crash types of assets. Maybe they want to hedge against something. Maybe they would just want to go for something crazy. I don't really know. There are tons of reasons why people would be interested in Bitcoin. And there's actually, I think it's even safe to assume that the amount of interest in Bitcoin will be going up over the years. And relating that further, at one point in the future, they're estimating here 8 years, the amount of new Bitcoin that's being mined won't be able to support the people that want to buy. And really the only logical explanation then is that the price will go up. And last but not least, Binance Coin BNB becomes third crypto with a branded emoji over on Twitter. And yes, I believe the first one was, of course, Bitcoin. The second was Crypto.com. Is that what it's called? This one. And now the third one is BNB, Binance. I just posted it on Twitter as well to test it. And yeah, it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty interesting. I don't know what it takes exactly. This article states that it might be $1 million, but maybe less for crypto companies. Maybe it's a different way to do it, because I would think Ripple would be pretty eager to pay $1 million to get that thing going. The amount of times it will be used is just insane, and really I think you'll get yourself a little bit of goodwill by doing such a thing. But I can't really judge. I don't know if Ripple has even the facilities to do that. I don't even know. Maybe through selling XRP and escrow. But yeah, guys, thank you all for watching this video. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you press the like button and subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you guys again in another one. Don't forget to press the like button if you enjoyed it. Don't forget it.